I'm simply going to ask the question. In the year 2017, are we getting some of the criticisms and critiques of Jalen Hurts simply because he's black? I know it's shocking to even ask that. And I'll tell you why I asked the question. I'm not trying to stir up anything. I'm not even saying it's true. I'm only asking the question. And I'll tell you why I'm asking the question. And you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, because again, I'm not taking a position on this. I'm asking the questions, but I'm going to tell you why I'm asking the question. If my read of this is off, please let me know. I'll go ahead and open up the phone lines today, 205-342-9904, because it's going to be such a controversial topic. But we're adults. We can tackle this. We have brains. We have the ability to reason with one another, to talk to one another, and to say if this is true or false. Here's why I asked the question. Jalen Hurts in 2016 was not great at throwing the deep ball, correct? We'll include our producer Paradise and also James Hardy still sticking around momentarily. You guys give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. One of the criticisms of Jalen Hurts in 2016 was that he did not throw a good deep ball. True or false? True. Okay. One of the criticisms of Jalen Hurts was that he didn't read defenses, right? True. One of the criticisms of Jalen Hurts in 2016 is he couldn't complete with consistency the intermediate pass. True. Okay. How many of those things could we apply to Jake Coker in 2015? Jake Coker was not good at throwing a deep ball. He was not. It just wasn't. Jake Coker seemed to be at times locking on to one receiver, meaning he's not reading the defense, right? If you're locking on to one receiver, you're not going through your reads. You're not reading the defense. Okay. And Jake Coker had trouble at times at completing the intermediate pass. All things that are true, right? Where was that criticism of Jake Coker in 2015? Why didn't I hear Jake Coker has trouble reading defenses in 2015? Is it because the season ended in a national championship? Possibly. And let's not also forget that what Jake Coker had going for him as a fifth-year senior means he'd been in college 5 years and had not mastered those things. We're harshly criticizing Jalen Hurts after 1 year because of that thing? Please explain to me why Jake Coker didn't get the same amount of criticism. And by the way, what did Jake Coker have at his disposal in 2015 that Jalen Hurts did not have in 2016? How about a Heisman Trophy running back? Jalen didn't have a Heisman Trophy winning running back to lean on. In fact, his best running back was in and out of the lineup due to injuries. I'm not saying it's true. And maybe I'm off base. Maybe Jake did face a lot of criticism for that. Maybe it's just not sticking with me 2 years after the fact. But, and you can also argue, maybe I'm giving too much attention to the people on Twitter. If it were one or two people on Twitter responding to me, that's one thing. I had a guy, honest to goodness. And this wasn't, I looked at this guy's account. It didn't appear to be a troll account. This guy appeared to be a legitimate, diehard, crimson glasses wearing Alabama fan. This was not an Auburn fan posing, not an LSU fan posing, not a Florida State, not a Florida. This was what appeared to be legitimate, non-trolling account, Alabama fan. Tell me on Twitter, Jalen Hurts should move to slot receiver. I don't know what to do with that. And there were many more examples of what people's criticisms of Jalen is. To me, Jake and Jalen had a pretty similar season between 2015 and 2016. Their years weren't, I haven't studied the numbers, but the metrics of it, the optics of it to me, on the surface look about the same. Only difference, Jalen Hurts didn't have a running back he could give the football to 40 times. And if Alabama has Derrick Henry last year, they probably win the national championship game. Because that game against Clemson flipped when Bo went out of the game. And maybe if Alabama's defense makes a stand, we're not hearing all this criticism of Jalen if Alabama wins the national championship. I don't know what to make of it. I just know I don't remember being given the critiques of Jake Coker like I am Jalen Hurts. And they both seem to have issues along the same realm. Both have trouble completing the deep ball. Both had trouble, quote-unquote, reading the defense. Both had trouble with consistency. Yet one, who is the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, I'm being told can't throw the football. Is there a disconnect that I just don't understand? Or does the fact that he's black play into it at all? I'm not saying it does. I just think I didn't hear those questions about Jake Coker. I didn't hear those questions about John Parker Wilson in 2009, by the way, or I'm sorry, Greg McElroy in 2009, who won a national championship. Guess who completed 5% more of their passes in that season than Greg McElroy did in 2009? Oh, that'd be Jalen Hurts. I didn't hear that Greg McElroy couldn't read a defense. I didn't hear that Greg McElroy had trouble completing the deep pass. I don't know. I'm not trying to make an issue of this. I'm really not. I'm trying to get to the bottom of why there's so much critique of Jalen Hurts. Why is it such a hot button issue? Because I, for the life of me, cannot understand it. Is he a perfect player? No. When's the last time Alabama had a perfect quarterback? Or a really, 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 really good quarterback that did everything that you wanted done? When was the last time? A.J. McCarron, probably, right? A.J. McCarron was probably the last quarterback, 2013, that fans were really, really happy with. I just don't get I don't get a disconnect with it. And I'm not going to, listen, there are plenty of fans that appreciate Jalen Hurts, that talk up Jalen Hurts. And maybe it's one of those situations where the minorities just way more vocal and we hear them a lot more. Maybe the people that think Jalen's fine aren't speaking up at all because they think it's a dumb topic and they don't want to engage in debate. I don't know. I just can't for the life of me figure out every time that you mention Jalen Hurts in a simple news article. All I wrote is that Jalen said the game is slowed down for him. That's Jalen's words. It sets off this massive critique about Jalen Hurts. Is he perfect? No, he's not perfect. Was Jake Coker perfect in 2015 when Alabama won a national championship? No. Was A.J. McCarron perfect in 2011 when Alabama won a national championship? No. Was Greg McElroy perfect when Alabama won a championship in 2009? No. Was Jay Barker perfect when Alabama won a national championship in 1992? No. You don't have to have perfect quarterback play. You can have flaws in your game and still win at the highest level. So why all of a sudden is it a huge deal that Jalen is a young guy developing as a quarterback? Why do so many people have so many, I don't want to call it unrealistic expectations, but so many kind of off-base opinions? You're telling me that Jalen Hurts can't throw the ball? There have been more than 50 people who have told me he can't throw the ball. Is that right? He can't throw the ball? Sometimes I think we're scared to talk about things that are controversial because you don't want to be labeled this side or this side. We can't be scared to talk about it. We're rational people. Most of the times we're kind people. We're intelligent people. We have to be able to talk about this. Otherwise, it's that subject that's taboo that we all may be thinking it. We don't want to say it. We can talk about this. But I'll say this, with some people, not everybody, I'm not painting with a broad brush here, but with some people, it's coded language. And sometimes from some people, when they say he can't read a defense, that means he's not smart enough to read a defense. That's what some people think in 2017. I'm not saying it's the majority. I'm not even saying it's a significant portion, but it's a vocal portion. And I didn't hear Jake Coker couldn't read a defense. And from where I'm sitting, he had the same issues that Jalen Hurts did. So why all of a sudden is Jalen being labeled can't read a defense? By the way, and the offensive coaches didn't ask Jalen to read. They made this game plan as simple as can be. They didn't ask him to do it because they had a defense they could rely on. But why is it being questioned, can Jalen read a defense? Why isn't it being questioned, can Jake Coker read a defense? What's the difference?